of Jan brings with it a little bit of seasonal rains, and when the weather is calm and balmy to some extent with the winter cold coming in, the only dish that we can always think of is our Hungarian Paprikás. Chicken flavors with the smoked Hungarian paprika work really well, and this dish has the fondest memories of creating staff meals during my time in my kitchens all across the world. A sure shot success. The side that goes with it usually is steamed rice, but you can get slightly experimentative and create some sweet potato roast. Let's get to creating this starry creation now. While the Hungarian chicken paprikash is bursting with flavor, it's got the tomato tartness and it's got the smoked subtle flavor that paprika brings to the dish. Sweet potatoes just elevated, and it's a new style that can be used and enjoyed at any given time, either for lunch or for dinner. However, in a bowl out here, I've got about 1 kg of sweet potatoes that I've just peeled and cut into 1 centimeter roundels. And we've got about 2 tablespoons of fennel seeds, lightly roasted just to burst with flavor. Along with that goes 2 tablespoons of roasted coriander seeds, and we're just going to get to pounding it. Fennel and coriander are such sharp flavors merging together, and the sweet potato is so versatile that it just absorbs all the goodness. You lightly pound this so that you have the coarse textures coming through, but at the same time bursting with flavor. Obtaining the coarsest of textures is now ready, and all you need to do is just sprinkle this on the sweet potato. Let it be as versatile as it can get into this gorgeous creation. Into this you give it a fine sprinkle of some rosemary, lavender, sea salt, and this is just to elevate it, but however you can go right ahead and use some normal sea salt. A drizzle of olive oil, just so that everything coats well. I use about 20 ml and give it all a good hand tossing. While this is extremely crude and raw in its texture, giving it that perfect snacky aromas that work well, the Hungarian smooth paprikash just balances everything out. Toss this, and this goes on a lined baking tray. Take on everything that's lined in the bowl because it's just bursting with flavor, and all you need to do is line them on your tray and they go bang into a preheated oven to roast. We're just going to allow this to slow roast in a preheated oven at 160 degrees Celsius for just about 25 minutes, and in the meantime let's get to creating that gorgeous paprikash that I've been raving about. Into a pan goes about 50 grams of garlic herb butter. I'm just using a different kind of butter out here to elevate the flavor, and we don't want it to burn, so in goes about 20 ml of olive oil. As this melts and gets nice and warm, we are going to now sear the chicken. So technically chicken is always used with the skin. However, I like the crunch and I feel the flavors get much more absorbed when it's skinless. So in goes about 1 kg of chicken legs and thighs, just so that it sears and gets that gorgeous brown color. Three minutes into the process, you just turn these babies so that they are seared well. You do not want it to brown, but at the same time you want it to get that little bit of color. As the chicken has got that slight golden touch into it, all you need to do is now remove it out into a bowl and start by adding those flavors that we always talk about. So just take this out and get to creating that glorious sauce that pairs gorgeously well with this. Hungarian paprikash is smoky in texture, but we like a little bit of heat, so in goes 2 red chilies finely minced, along with about 6 cloves of garlic. Just allow this to saute and scent the entire fat that we have out here. Into this goes 2 large red onions finely minced, and just go about getting it soft and translucent. Scrape off all the crumbs that you have at the bottom, and they just add to that glorious flavor. 4 minutes into the process, as the onions have got soft and translucent, in goes 1 large red bell pepper that we've just diced to give it that color and slight variance in the texture. So this is a very versatile dish, and it allows you to explore, and I've learned various different variations and styles of this. However, I feel this one works really well. The heat comes alive with this hot Hungarian paprika, so about a teaspoon of this going in. And you have to be very, very careful to cook this on the slowest possible simmer, because Hungarian paprika always tends to get bitter when it's scorched with an overload of heat. Along with that goes about 2 teaspoons of this smoked sweet paprika. And I just go overboard over here because I love the flavor that it brings. Saute this, bask in the smokiness that it gives, and immediately take 6 tomatoes that you have blanched and put them in. So this allows it not to get too scorched up. In goes a tablespoon of some tomato paste, just to give it that rich color and more sharper flavor of tomatoey goodness. As you mix that in, finally you add about 200 ml of tomato puree. As you allow this to cook for 3 to 4 minutes, now is the time to layer the chicken back in so that it absorbs all this flavor. Just put the chicken in and allow it to musk in this glory and gain all that flavor, the smokiness, the tart element that the tomato brings, and that subtle heat that the Hungarian paprika brings to the table. Just allow this to coat in this and simmer and cook for about 2 to 3 minutes before adding in some chicken stock. In goes about 200 ml of chicken stock, and now you just want this to simmer for a good 20 minutes. 5 minutes into the process, all this gets is a fine sprinkle of some celery sea salt, just to give it that sweet earthly overtones. Halfway through the process, this requires a little bit of tart elevation. So here I've got about 200 ml of fresh cream, and to that I'm adding the juice of 1 lime. It's really very simple. If you have sour cream, go right ahead and use it. Otherwise, this is the next best alternative. Whisk it. Into that you add about 2 tablespoons of refined flour. Just emulsify the two together and put it right into the gorgeous Hungarian paprikash. In this goes right in the center, and just allow it to blend and emulsify, giving it that lightish hue but bursting with flavor. You allow this to cook for another 5 to 10 minutes on the slowest possible simmer, and your classic is ready with a slightly elevated, spicier twist. As you mix everything through and the flavors get sharp, pronounced, and the sour cream just elevates this, this is ready. All this requires is a fine overload of some curly parsley. So a good 3 tablespoons of curly parsley gives it that breath of freshness that's so required in this. With the potato well roasted and got that burst of flavor and textures, we're just going to arrange this on a platter and you're good to go. While this Hungarian chicken paprikash pairs really well either with the sweet potato like we created, or some mash, or some steamed rice along the side. This family is old school and enjoys it with some steamed rice or just some sourdough bread to dunk into that glorious gravy. I hope you enjoyed creating this gorgeous, simple, yet so monsoony, winter-worthy dish to enjoy. Don't forget to share loads of love by hitting on the like button, and as always, don't forget to subscribe.